Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. My name is Richard Lewis Brown. Today is May 18th, 2022. Hopefully you're having a great day. I'm excited for this evening's video. As you know, we do unscripted, unedited, unrehearsed. There's no practice. I don't script. I don't tell people what to call in and what to say. You'll see I have interesting conversations with everyone. And sometimes it appears that there's times when we have those deep conversations and you'll say, wow, is that person really supporting Richard? And I would say absolutely. But in this country, we value the freedom of speech, which gives you the ability to have a freedom to express your opinion. Whether it's accepted or not, you still have that freedom currently in this great country. So tonight, everyone's talking about politics. And as you know, I was elected in May of 21 to get us out of politics. Now they try to, quote, suspend me. That's a whole big story behind all that. But I'm going to stay true to what I said. Now, I got my ballot in the mail. I vote by mail. I'm a voter. If you're wondering, I'm a registered Democrat. And here it is, my ballot. 2 of them. June 7th is the deadline for the primary for California. As you know, you probably would expect me to have strong opinions about politics. So I'll say this to you quickly. Please vote. Let me say it to you again on Zoom and on Facebook. Regardless if you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green Party, Peace and Freedom, make sure you vote. You don't like how things are going? Complain. And then put that complaint into action by voting. And then keep complaining. You're an American. That's what I expect you to do. But make sure you vote. Don't let this pass you by. I'm not telling you who to vote for. As you know, I'm still wrestling with our union, trying to be restored back to my proper position that I was duly elected for. So I'm still asking people to cash at me. 408-207-2339. All right. As I was speaking to Elizabeth Collins and Bob Fine and Virginia and Andrea, the first ones on the Zoom call tonight, this is a fight. And you got to have the patience to fight and keep fighting. It took me 3 attempts to become the 3rd Local 1000 president in our history. And this was a historic election in 21. 5 candidates ran, including myself. And the incumbent, who had never lost since 2008, she had won 2008, 2011, 15, and 18. She had won 4 straight elections. She had never lost. And many people thought she could never lose. And they told me that I could never win an election. But that's not true. So we got to keep the faith. All right. As I showed you, this are my 2 ballots. And so if you're wondering, and I'm going to put my ballots up on my website, Create Excellence 7437, because remember, when they tell you about transparency in the union, they're talking about Richard Lewis Brown. They're not talking about themselves. They're always talking about me. Every time I do something, they follow me. All right. So if you're just wondering, I'll just tell you this really quickly. For the U.S. Senator, there's 2 spots, full term and partial term. I voted for a Green Party, and no party preference. And then for Congress, District 7 for me, I voted for a Democrat. For the state Senate, I didn't have a choice to vote other than for a Democrat, unless I wrote my name in or wrote somebody's name in. And then for Assembly District 10, I voted for a Republican. So I voted for Democrat, Republican, Green, and no party preference on this page here. And then on the back page, it doesn't go by party preference. You just vote for who you like on the back page. And I voted no against for Sacramento for this vehicle fee thing. All right, and then Yeah, I vote no on all that stuff because we're almost 100 billion in surplus, or was it 92, 96 billion in surplus? All right. First it was 45 billion off my PowerPoint slide in December of 2021, and then someone said 68 billion on Facebook, Sandra Kent. Now it's up to 92 or 96 billion. Eventually they'll tell us the truth. So, all right. And now for the governor. For the governor, I voted for a Green Party. So I didn't vote Democrat or Republican. I voted for a Green. So some people will say I just threw my vote away, but I am an American. I do have freedom of choice to pick who I want to pick. And then for the lieutenant governor, I voted for peace and freedom. So it appears that I'm all over the place. I'm not putting all my votes in one basket. And then on the back page for Secretary of State, no preference for Secretary of State. For the controller, I voted for a Democrat. I did. For the insurance commissioner, I voted for a Green Party. Attorney General, I voted for the Green Party. Board of Equalization, Republican. And for the treasurer, peace and freedom. That's what I did. I signed my name to it. I'll make a copy, put it on my website, Create Excellence 7437, and then hold on one second. Woo, it's hot. All right, and then I'll mail it off. Well, knowing me, I will drive it down to Sacramento here, in South Sacramento, and drop it in the box. All right. That took 7 minutes to talk about. I didn't tell you who to vote for. Let me say this again for you on Facebook and on Zoom on May 18, 2022. I did not tell you who to vote for. I told you who I voted for. I voted for Democrat, Republican, peace and freedom, no party preference, and Green Party. Am I asking you to do the same thing? No. I'm asking you, just vote. Just vote. Now, I know many of you are upset that your voice is being robbed because they put me in office and now they're trying to run me out of office. I know. And that's politics. And I think a lot of people thought once I was elected that everything I said in my platform I wouldn't do. I would take the salary stipend, did not do it. And did not sign for the vice presidents to take the salary stipend either. I think that got me in a lot of trouble. And fighting for jobs, that's what a labor leader does while under a signed contract. And some labor leaders will fight for those jobs even without a contract. And just curious, how much is the stipend? So, Dr. Wheeler, for me, it would have been $46,600 and some dollars. Don't ask me why I have that number, but I do. Let me see if I have it here in the brochure. It's a lot of money to turn down. That's why you know I'm from Missouri. I have to be silly to do that. Yeah. So, when you turn down money, the salary stipend, that sends a message to the politicians you can't be bought off. When you fight for jobs while under a signed contract, hey, Annika Walls, that's our VP of Organizing Representation. If she wants to come on and talk, I'll be glad to bring her on. When you don't accept money, it sends a strong message to the politicians you can't be bought off. When you fight for jobs while under a signed contract, which is not what Local 1000 has ever done before, that sends a strong message. When we did not go along with getting everyone vaccinated, then that tells the politicians that you're not playing the political games. But tonight, I want people to think about this. Local 1000 wants you to vote a certain way. And these people they want you to vote for are all from the party I belong to, the Democratic Party, the Democrats. I want you to realize something. We oftentimes want to get mad at this current governor for the POP, those 2 days of pay loss for fiscal year 2021. And we were scheduled for fiscal year 21-22 as well, 2 days pay loss, but that got canceled. But I want you to realize something, that the Democrats that control the state legislature supported him in doing this. I want you to realize that. In fact, when we had that issue, that furlough fiasco with Schwarzenegger, Governor Schwarzenegger, remember, he may have been a Republican, but the Democrats authorized what he wanted to do. So, you know, when my friends call me talking about the Republicans are out of control or the Democrats are out of control, I would say to both sets of friends, do you really trust either one? Think about this. As long as you have two parties dominating, and they're always talking about the other one, corruption, nepotism, favoritism, they're both guilty. I mean, if you look at our state government and see all the corruption with the state legislators over the years, it's not just Democrats, it's Republicans too. You don't hear much about the Independents or the Green Party or the Peace and Freedom. What independent do you know of that has a name across America in the federal government? There's only one name. Bernie Sanders. He's not a Democrat. You look him up on Wikipedia. Look up how he ran in those primaries. So I want people to vote. I don't care what I'm going through. And I know a lot of people say that our vote doesn't matter. Your vote always matters in this country. It always has and it always will. Remember, it takes a vote to do anything. To get a group of people together, it takes a vote. Now, I realize that they're trying to rob your vote when they elected me as president. But that doesn't mean we give up. Hopefully, everyone on this call tonight will vote in this June primary. So you know what? Let's do it like this. Let's run down the list. I'll start asking people's names and say, are you voting in the primary? And you can say either yes or no. All right. Wendy Fairbrother, are you voting?
Yes, I am.
Gerald Douglas, are you voting?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bob Fine, are you voting?
Absolutely, sir. And if I could say one thing real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Based on this, I'm not getting back to this about the voting and the governor we have.
Mm-hmm.
You're the governor.
Join the meeting.
You're the governor trying to shut down three more prisons besides the ones that he tried to shut down already that are right now in limbo. And yet he took money from SEIU, not under you, and CPOA, I mean a bunch of money, millions of dollars, and yet he's trying to put the screws to all the employees. That ought to say something about voting right there.
Okay. We'll go to the next. Make sure I get everybody. Elizabeth Collins, are you voting?
Absolutely.
All right. Joshua Guile.
Yes, President Brown, I am.
Fantastic. Cheryl Butters.
Yes, I am.
All right. DLC 772 President Mary De La Cruz, are you voting in the primary?
Hell yeah, this governor out.
Okay. All right. All right. So, Andrea Smith, are you voting?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Kelly Newby, are you voting?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. I see Angela Pruitt, are you voting?
Of course.
Fantastic. Evie Lynch, are you voting?
Most definitely, sir. Most
Fantastic. DLC 768 President Cheryl Allen, will you be voting in this election, the June primary?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Tyler, will you be voting in this election? Hey, Tyler. Okay, we'll come back to Tyler. John Rebels, will you be voting in this election?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Joe, will you be voting in this election?
Absolutely, sir.
Sylvia Castro.
You know it.
Fantastic. Virginia, will you be voting in this election?
Yes, I will.
All right. Yolanda Williams, will you be voting in this election?
Yep.
Tony, our guest, will you be voting in this election?
Yes, I will.
That's fantastic. DN, guest, will you be voting in this election?
Yes.
That's fantastic. And 6141, last four, phone number. Will you be voting in this election?
It's Geraldine. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
All right, Geraldine. So I think I've called out everyone. And this is fantastic because I know some of us are very upset, whether with the union or with the state or with the country. But you are still willing to vote. And that makes me smile. That's not a fake smile. That's not a smile when I'm really depressed and I'm trying to hide my feelings. That's a real smile. That's a real smile. All right, I see your hand raised. Evie Lynch, go ahead.
Thank you, President Brown. I just wanted to remind everybody to also vote for CalPERS because word on the street is that Ms. Yvonne is going to be running for a seat on the CalPERS board.
Mm-hmm.
And so your vote matters because that's our money. That's our retirement money. So please, 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 if you care about your money, vote on the CalPERS board that's coming up soon.
That's a great point. You know, I haven't heard anything, I haven't seen anything come out yet, but let's keep our eyes open for that. You know, I would say this to everyone. Regardless of what happens to me, regardless, please always vote. Always vote. Now, I'm not going to go into the history of this country and how certain people weren't allowed to vote. No, I ain't going to say all that. But when you have that right, or as some people say, the privilege to vote, never give up that privilege. You fight to maintain that privilege. Voting is crucial in this country. It's crucial in this union. And even though sometimes it appears that there may be fraud when it comes to voting, there may be corruption when it comes to voting, you must always vote. Now, as you know, I've said I'll make a copy of how I voted, and I'll put it up on my website. And then you can go to my voting record on my website, and you can go through all the years going all the way back to 2012. See, some people say that they're transparent, but they're liars. They're not telling you the truth. In fact, when I was conducting the board meetings, I always wanted those votes to be very transparent. I want those voting records up. And a lot of times in these board meetings for Local 1000, they don't want to do a vote. They don't want to do a roll call vote. And this is so hypocritical of our union and of some of our leaders in our union. Remember, a lot of times people who are running for state office or federal office, they'll have a voting record. And you can look at your voting record and say, hey, this aligns with my feelings or it doesn't align with my feelings. And you can, influence your decision to vote for them will be based off of sometimes their voting record. But here in our union, sometimes when people run for office, you don't know how they voted on prior issues that affected this union, or as some people would say, affected your money. Your money. So when people say, well, why is Richard putting up his voting record? Because I told you from the very beginning in 2015, I am your transparent candidate. I never lied. And I don't expect everyone to agree with my voting record. I don't want you to agree with it, but I want you to acknowledge it. Because I want to see these other so-called Local 1000 leaders, I want to see if they put up their voting record. Because I can guarantee you this, in 2024, when it's time for election period time again, and they say they're transparent, and they're going to do this, and they're going to do that, show me their voting record. They won't be able to show you their voting record. Because they don't want to be held accountable for how they voted. All right. Hopefully I said this in a very simple fashion. And let me get to this part. I've been asked 2 times, times 1,000. Richard, when are you being put back in office? And my answer is, I don't know. My answer is, we have to be patient. We have to be steadfast. And I know that that's not good enough for some of you. Fair enough. But we have to be steadfast. It took them a minute to run me out of office, at least their attempt to run me out. So it's going to take some time to fight back. But we don't lose hope. And by everyone saying tonight that they're going to vote in this primary, that's a great thing. Now, someone has not brought this up. Oh gosh. Back in, I think it's 2010, 2012. It used to be that anybody could run in the general election in November. And now for certain positions, such as the governor, they only take the top 2 out of the primary. And those top 2 will go to the November election. Now, that got passed by the voters years ago. I thought that was a travesty. I thought we were, quote, a progressive state. We always led by example, but not in this case. I kind of wonder at times, when you hear Local 1000, some of these leaders talk in these videos, and you wonder why they won't ever come on video with me, I want you to think about this. I know who are my expert debaters, who are my expert talkers. I know who they are in the union. They keep me on cue on a daily basis. But these other so-called Local 1000 leaders are too afraid to engage with me on video. They say, well, he'll get mad, he'll start yelling and screaming at us. No, but I'm not going to let you come and demonize me and talk down to me either. If you're too afraid to engage on a video, Zoom or Facebook, if you're too afraid to engage me and take me on in front of everyone, unscripted, unedited, unrehearsed, and we don't need no moderator. No, we don't. If you're too afraid to take me on, then how are you going to fight for our money? This is why they voted for me. How are you going to stand up to this governor or maybe a new governor in the state legislature and fight for our dignity, fight for our jobs while under a signed contract, fight to ensure that things that has gone on in the past stay in the past? If you're afraid to take me on, then how can you take them on? You can't. You can't take them on, and you never will. They say that I was this great threat to Local 1000. No, I wasn't. The only threat I was a threat to the status quo, a threat to the politicians, a threat to their financial well-being. That's the threat. All right, so it's 6:55. I told you tonight's going to be a fast night tonight. And it's not because I don't have my air conditioner going and I'm hot. It's not because of that. But we're gonna do a short night tonight. But I sincerely ask you, make sure you vote. And tell your friends, your family, your colleagues at work, don't sit back and complain about the problems of the union, of the country, of the state without you voting. You got to vote and then keep complaining and demand justice. But make sure that when you vote, Are you voting for the same status quo? All right, so I'm gonna mute everyone here. Hold on a second. I'm gonna mute everyone. Are you just voting for the same old, same old? I hope you don't. You know, I remember when I was younger, I always thought that the Republicans are the enemy. I was young. And now people think that they say Richard hates the Democrats. I can't quite figure this one out. I don't hate anyone. And I want everyone to vote. But sometimes I wish people would go outside their normal scope of practice. Sometimes. You don't have to always do it. As you can see from my ballot, I voted all over the place. I didn't put all my eggs in one basket with one party. I didn't do that. Now I want you to remember this. We're almost 100 billion. They say $92 billion in surplus. You know what that tells me? That tells me we probably have over $115 billion. 115 billion, not million, billion. So when I say 21% pay increase, I think that was going to cost over the course of the 3-year contract with all of our salaries. I want to say that was going to be at, 6.7 to, let's just say 7 billion. To give you a 21% pay increase, $7 billion out of nearly 100 billion. You'll be all right. For everything you have gone through with the state of California, with all the pay loss through the furloughs, the PLP, this OPEB, other post-employment benefits, that 3.5%, everything you've gone through, you are clearly worth a 21% pay increase across the board for everyone equally represented by Local 1000. And I'll say this too, because I'm not selfish. We have so much money in surplus, we could pay every represented, or should I say every state employee, regardless of union, a 21% pay increase, and we'd be just fine. We would be just fine. So when you hear about this quote SBAC, the Local 1000 is putting on, they just put on last weekend, did they tell you about that? Did they tell you that we're going to get you that 21% pay increase across the board for everyone equally, and we're going to create this strike fund, and after bargaining in good faith, we're going to shut the state down because the money's there? Did they tell you that? No, and they never will. DOC 772 President Mary Dela Cruz. Please, go ahead, Mary.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. My brothers and sisters of the union. No, they didn't tell us they were going to give us a raise, but I'll tell you what, my bargaining chairs, Vanessa Singstrong told us when we asked, she says she's going to sign whether you get, I'm adding verbs, nouns, shit or not. She's going to sign. Whether members get anything or not, she's going to sign because we don't understand the ramifications if she doesn't sign. So, that being said, they also in the meetings are pushing code. You know, we need to support these union-friendly legislators. And I said, well, how is this governor, union-friendly legislator, working out for you? He got $1 million plus from SEIU. And he called us all essential workers. Well, if he got, I'm going to round it up, the $100 billion plus, why isn't he kicking into the state workers who we call essential? We not essential no more? I'm just asking, this is a union-friendly governor. Thank you for taking my call.
You know what, DLC 772 President Mary Dela Cruz? I'm not going to comment. I'm going to let somebody come behind you and let I'm gonna let somebody else comment behind you because you hit it on the head. I'll say one thing real quick before somebody else raises their hand. Sylvia Castro, 772, Secretary. You're right. The COLA, that's part of my 10-point platform. Thank you for reminding me, cost of living allowance. You are absolutely right. We need that as well as a 20% pay increase across the board, along with GeoPay. You are absolutely right. Who wants to come behind President De La Cruz about what she just said about the bargaining chair for bargaining unit 17, Vanessa Seastrong, said she'll sign anything. Because if that's what Vanessa said, I didn't hear it, but if that's what she said, then they're not negotiating. There is no negotiations. It's whatever the state tells you, that's what you take. Okay, Evie Lynch, go ahead, Evie.
Thank you, President Brown, for taking my call.
You're very welcome.
And I want to say, preach on, Sister Mary, because what you said was right on. I also wanted to point out that our, when they signed this contract with the state, they also didn't negotiate because what they did was take what the state was offering. When they came back and said, oh, we got all this great contract we fought for you, there was no fighting. Because if they just offered you X and you took X, there's no fight to that. I think that this telework agreement has a lot that could have been put in it. I think that the telework agreement really didn't look at all the aspects of what we needed for telework. I'm hoping that when you get put back in your rightful place as our president and fighting for us, you will renegotiate or at least try to get them to put more substance into that because, I'm sorry, that dog don't work. It don't work. So I hope one of the first things you do, President Brown, is to look at that telework agreement and give us a real telework agreement that really suits everybody's needs, at least to some degree. We're not going to get everything, but we should, at the very least, like you said, they have $100 billion in surplus. They should at least give us a little bit more so that we can have something of substance.
So Evie Lynch, you're right. Now, and this is where a lot of times, I know you said it to me a lot of times, that words matter. People say, Richard, are you still the president? Yes, I'm president, but I'm temporarily suspended. Now, once we win this, and I'm back as the president with my full presidential powers,
Terry Fisher, join the meeting.
you know, a lot of people want me to tear up that telework agreement. I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no. I'm going to hold back for now. A lot of people are wondering how this is all going to work out. It's a funny thing we're talking about politics tonight. Because like Evie said, they just took the telework agreement. 50 and 25. So as soon as they were able to, quote, in their minds think they could suspend me, the state rushed right in with them and said, hey, let's do the telework agreement. Let's sign it right now before he comes back. 50 and 25. So we're already divided by bargaining unit, 10 different bargaining units, over 735 different job classifications. And then they said for those who work permanently from home, you get 50. And for those who have to still come to the office, you have a telework agreement, you have an office space, you get 25. As DLC 768 President Cheryl Allen stated, 50 and 25 before tax. Before tax. It's nothing. They've been treating you like you were nothing from the time you started state service. Let me say it for you again. This great state of California, better than my home state of Missouri, the #1 state in the nation, has treated its employees, regardless of bargaining unit, like they were nothing. Going all the way back in time. And they've been able to pull this game off because they said, we'll give you a pension and that'll keep you quiet. Now look, I love pensions. We all love pensions. And we know that CalPERS, let me shut my mouth about CalPERS. I am not taking on CalPERS. Nope. I'll leave that fight alone. But the state of California runs it down our necks. Remember that telework agreement that said that they'll be the final decision maker? They'll be the final decision maker over any telework grievance. The same way they talk about your dignity. You know, a lot of people said that I didn't have the right demeanor. I was angry, you know, out of control. But you never talk about their demeanor. Because they smile in your face and they tell you what you want to hear. And then...
I know that song, they're backstabbers.
Oh my God, they're backstabbers. I was going to say it was just a masquerade. But backstabbers too. And I see someone's trying to raise their hand. Put your hand back up, please. Or put it back in the chat and I'll call on that person. Because maybe I'm missing it. Hold on here. I'm looking. But I want people to understand this. When you're having the Tuesday night calls and the Wednesday night calls and they're doing all this talk, that's all they're doing. People say, well, all you did was talk, Richard. That's an absolute lie. Politicians tell you what you want to hear. And then once you elect them, they do what they want to do. I told you what I was going to do before you elected me. And then once I got in the office, I did it. Except for reduction of the dues on day one. I failed there. I failed there. Currently, I have failed on reduction of the dues by 50%. Currently. Everything else I did. Everything else I did, and that's why they were, quote, they had to run me out of there. But they're trying to run me out. I want you to think about this. When you see people on Facebook say about purple up on Wednesday, SEIU International, purple and gold is their colors. So when you purple up on Wednesdays, you're supporting International. My question is, when you were losing 2 days of pay, did you purple up then? Could you find Mary Kay Henry then? Could you find her during the furlough fiasco? Could you find her when your house was being repossessed? Could you find the purple people then? When your car was being, your home was being foreclosed on, your car was being repossessed, did the purple people from SEIU International, did they come down to help build membership? Did they? Because that's your insurance policy. They said we're stronger together. No, you're not. We're stronger together as long as they're getting paid off your money. Did they tell you that part? So when they're traveling around and when, what's his name? Billy Hall, when he sends out those emails saying that we got somebody down from International and helping us build membership. For what? Where were they when we really needed them? Does International have a connection with Governor Gavin Newsom? Is that what it is? Well, if they got a connection, where's our pay increase at? If they got this relationship, or maybe it's just with International and with Gavin, but you're not needed. Well, your money's needed, but that's all. We don't need you for anything else. Because you don't know the ramifications. Woo! I'm going to keep it tight. I'm going to keep it tight tonight. I'm going to keep it tight. I have to laugh. I have to smile and listen, people call me all the time. And people can tell me in 30 seconds what it takes me 30 minutes to tell you. Why are we paying these people all this money and we're not getting nothing back? Now, I told you that's called street life. You get out there and do all that work, and then he takes all that money from you. And then tells you, we can come up together. No. You don't need him. All right, let's go back to President De La Cruz. Go ahead. And then we'll go to Joe. So go ahead.
So I know I didn't attend it. Maybe those of you that are on here might have heard and can validate this. But Annika just got back from Washington, D.C. She went to International.
Okay. So Annika went to International?
Yes. So I wonder what for. I'm just saying, I got a question, and maybe some people can answer that. Did she use member dues? Because I know that I didn't get a vote whether she could use that money to go to international. Wait a minute, and take 6 other people with her. How about that? Who paid for that?
Now you know what? I don't want to get caught saying something I don't know. I will say this. I would imagine that we did pay for it, but maybe International paid for her trip to DC. But I would come back and say, okay, that's fine. But for $688,000 a month that we send International, I think they can pay for some trips. You tell me.
Perhaps DLC 772 paid for it, because that's a word that's out there that they're paying for everybody's travel. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. So here, let me jump to the next question before you say it, and then we'll get to Joe here. Someone said that Sharon Gudo said that 772 paid for my worksite trip to Fresno last week. No, they did not. I did not get any money through a membership meeting to go to that worksite. What I have asked people to do is cash at me so I can continue to pay this attorney so I can get back in office. That I have done. 408-207-2339. That I have done. So if someone sees Sharon, hey, can you let Sharon know that they didn't pay me? You know, I didn't get paid a motivational fee. Maybe I should start charging a fee. Maybe I should. But no, I didn't get paid. All right, so go ahead, Joe.
That was my chief negotiator.
Oh, I like that.
Missouri Tiger.
I like that.
We're doing today.
I like that. Go ahead, Joe.
I had to put this all down here. So, as everybody knows, and I want to thank you so much again for coming to our DLC and spending so much all day that day in 2 different work sites. And then you were able to attend our board meeting because, you know, our house that we usually use to conduct business mysteriously got shut down because of an imminent threat in danger to its employees and members that was in the area. I don't know who that was or what it was because not everybody got the memo on that and actually showed up over there, and the place was, you know, locked up tighter than a drum. It's just, you know, nothing was going on over there, so you don't know. But I want to say, you know, as the conversation you and me are going to have right now about this whole thing, I want to thank you so very much for coming. You're going to knock me over with a feather when you're here. You surprised me, and just so everybody else knows, everybody was invited. I threw everybody in there.
Right.
You know, it was all inclusive, and you were the only one that showed. But everybody else denied, but you were the only one that showed.
You know what, Joe? I want to thank you for inviting me down. Like you said, you invited everyone down to 772 last week to those 2 work sites. I had a great time talking to people, educating people. You know, sometimes we let titles go to our head. I'm no different than you. I'm no better than you. We're all equal. And, you know, I say it to people here on Zoom. I tell it to everybody on Facebook who's watching. I see Kevin Healy, our DLC, 752, President Kevin Healy, he's watching. Maybe he'll want to come on and talk to me in front of everyone. So, you know, when they say that I'm not trying to communicate with the members, I don't try to communicate with the board, that's not true. That's not true. And the truth will come out. But, you know, I want to go back to what you said about last week when I came down and then Local 1000, they shut the building down. Talking about it was an imminent threat. You know, it's funny.
It was about 3:30 in the afternoon.
About 3:30.
3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I know, well, I can't prove that, that they thought that maybe I was the imminent threat.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, anytime you have people tell your president that the president can go suck a dick or go eat a dick, and nothing happens. And so when I tell people, you know, there's a number of reasons why they're trying to remove me from the union. And some of it is very racial. It's based in racism. And not nobody on that board held that person accountable, that Local 1000 leader accountable. Then that tells you how they feel about the president. Now, some people would say, well, Richard, you have to maintain your dignity because, you know, the great Barack Obama, look what everything he went through. You know what? I have said this 1,000 times, Joe. There's only one perfect Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. They're special. They're special. Everybody's not built like that. And so we all have our calling.
But I'll tell you this. You know, I'll get into the after effects of those work site meetings and everything.
Okay.
And you know what? I mean, like, as I've gotten into this and everything, I mean, like, I woke up that morning, and the next morning on Friday morning after that unbelievable day, and I felt different. When I walked into my work site, it felt different, and I got news from other people over at the other work site over at DMV, which we ended up finding out has a lot of problems over there. They were feeling different, and it's support that's out there. And you know what? Whatever's going on here, it's all about the members and what we're doing for the members and for future members and the people. Because, you know, at the end of the day, everybody needs to remember why you're doing this. It's not because you're bored or you're trying to fill your ego or anything. It's like, and we're getting lost in sight here. It's an honor and a privilege to serve people. And just like these managers, it's an honor and a privilege to manage people. And that's what's getting forgotten. Because if you've got an agenda on things where you want union leave, you want this, we did not use, and I haven't used it, not 1 minute of union leave, all on my own time. But it's an honor and a privilege to serve people. And this disinformation that went out last night was just absolutely ridiculous because, you know what, we paid you, we didn't fill up your gas tank, we didn't pay for a hotel room, we didn't pay money to come down here or anything like that. You ate off of food that everybody else had, just like every other member that's entitled to, because you are still the president, you are still a member, you know what I mean? And if you have engines, it's always going to stay that way. But you have no idea how many lives that you touched, and then other lives touched other people. We, as DLC members, in being there, touched people, and it's that eye-to-eye communication, ability, that support, that trust, that you're going to be there for these people time and time again, not just for now, not just for contract time, not just because somebody wants something out of it. They can smell BS from a mile away. When you start looking around and everything like that, take the line. You know, and you're trying to manipulate people. Like, one person told another person, and another person told another, and the other person was like, hey, oh my God, the president was here. And then somebody said, hey, that's the president of Fresno? No, dude, that's the president up and down the whole friggin' state, you know? I mean, it was just a momentous occasion, especially for Fresno, because Fresno feels like the forgotten stepchild on everything. But, I mean, you know, it's just not that day. Now we got to keep the ball rolling. We got to keep on going. Even though that ball is big, it's getting bigger, and we're pushing it uphill, you got to remember what you're doing this for. You know what I mean? You're not doing it for a stipend. You're not doing it for it. You're doing it for the people. Satisfaction seeing people. Like we were at DMV, and that individual showed up, and he told us, he says, you know what? I'm so glad you're here, because you know what? The politics going on here is that my manager has told me repeatedly, I will never promote you because you're type 1 diabetes, and I can't trust you to be here at work. Now, how many violations, that's just the tip of the iceberg on things. How many violations is that where nobody's listening and nobody's supporting this person, you know? And it's rampant. And that's what our job is taking it on freely. And I just want to thank you and continue support. People resigning and everything, I'm not I'm not going nowhere. So, yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna go to Derek Rogue, the DLC 770 Secretary Treasurer Derek Rogue, and I'm gonna come back to what she said. Okay, so go ahead, Derek.
Good evening, Mr. President. How are you tonight?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. Awesome. So, I want to go back to.
Hi, Derek.
Hi, how are you? Hello. I want to go back to what you said earlier, a few comments ago, when you brought up international wearing the purple for solidarity. You know what? I haven't shown my face on here in a while, and it feels good turning this camera on. I took a little hiatus. There's some issues going on that I'm not going to discuss right now. But it's disgusting. You know what? It took me this long to realize there's no true soul. Now, Marlena is over there doing this straight talk, kind of homophobic connotation there, but I'm not going to get into that. Let's talk about real talk right now. Let's talk about real talk for a moment.
Wait. Derek.
What's that?
Hold on 1 second. Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. You just triggered something. So go ahead.
All right, let's talk real talk.
Okay.
I'm going to talk real talk. Let's talk about really united as a team. It's not about purple and gold. We all share a common interest. That's what we're all here for. And you know what? I thought about things, and over time, I've learned that these effortlessly protests get us nowhere. We can sit here and try and protest it. That's not good enough. We're ineffective. We're going to progress in what we want with our goals, for our dues paying money, and what we want to fight for. So we have to re-strategize and try something else. Now, I've had several thoughts, but it's going to take some effort. And I'm reaching out to everyone tonight because, you know what? We will get what we want. And we can do it in a peaceful and very diplomatic way. And it's not going to take a single person shouting. But I'll get into that more as the weeks progress and we go on, okay? But as far as, everyone getting these emails, I've gotten to, and I just want to say it's garbage. The great Einstein said himself, the person who reads too much and uses his mind of thinking or her mind of thinking too little engages in lazy habits. I'll leave it at that. So thank you very much, Mr. President. I hope you have a fantastic week. And we will make progress. Mark my words. We will get there. It's going to take work, as you said. It's going to take effort. But at the end of the day, we're going to reach where we want to be. And we will be back to where we once were, as before, but even better.
Thank you for calling in, Derek. I want to go back to what Joe said really quickly. The honor and the privilege. Honor and privilege. HP. Honor and privilege. And it was a great honor for someone to invite me to a work site. And I've always told people, if you invite me to your work site, I will do everything I can to get there. And so last week, I had to wake up like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I didn't get back home till 12 o'clock at night. Now, they fed me. I was hungry. I am a state employee. I like to eat. And that gas trip was expensive. But when you sincerely care about people, you'll do that. When you sincerely care. I want to go back to what Derek said. Those emails that's been going out on these Wednesday night calls that I'm not doing. That's called real talk. Where do you think the word real came from? See, when I tell you that they copy me in everything I do, transparency is a word I used back in 2015. MTC, Members of Transparency and Change, they copied that word, transparency. Real comes from Richard DeReal. I'm surprised they haven't stolen my Inspire the Impossible. I'm surprised they haven't stolen what DLC 768 President Cheryl Allen said, saving our union's life. Do you have soul? I'm surprised they haven't stolen what Evie Lynch said. If I am Local 1000, she says, no, Richard, we are Local 1000. I'm surprised they haven't stolen that yet. Just keep watching them. Every time I say something, they follow suit with me. Now, will they follow suit showing you their voting ballot? No. They ain't going to do that. Because that's sincerity. They're not going to take that ridicule. All right, so we'll go back to DLC 772 President Mary Dela Cruz, and then we'll go back to Evie Lynch. So go ahead, Mary.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to let my brothers and sisters, and especially those on Facebook that might be listening, because you know I'm about straight talk. I'm about the real truth. That's come I can relate. So the real truth is that I have not been given or allowed union leave, not even my 16 hours per policy, for my DLC to go to work sites to help build membership. I think, you know, I've called out Annika, I've called out, I've emailed Irene, I've emailed David Jimenez, you know, for whatever reason. I didn't comb my hair right, didn't brush my teeth right, wasn't wearing glasses. I don't know. All I know is I keep getting denied and I send in a call. And if we're not able to go out and reach our members and their dues-paying members or all those representing to build membership, what is this about? Are they going to tell me now that they're about the members, but they don't want us to get out there? I just wanted to make everybody know that not all DLC presidents are being treated equally. Some are getting approved to go out. Some are getting, you know, are out on union leave, right, building membership. But over here in the Central Valley, I don't know, there's an imminent threat going on, national disaster. I don't know, they ain't approving nothing out here. But that's okay, we got a workaround. But I'm letting members know that this current leadership, and they know who they are, MTC and Bill Hall, whatever team they want to call themselves, they're denying members the right for us to go out to those work sites and speak with them. And I did hear that our membership is dropping so much, we're on the cusp of being turned over to receivership. That's why International is getting involved to try to build membership back up.
So,
thank you for taking my call.
You're very welcome. Let me address that really quickly, Mary. We can't go into receivership. That's not where our charter reads. But because you have to remember, we pay money based off our membership to International. So if we lose membership, they're going to lose money too. So they have a vested interest to make sure that we keep our membership high so they can keep collecting their affiliation agreement money. As far as you're not getting your 16 hours, that's wrong. You're being discriminated against because of your support for me. That's wrong. That's wrong. But that will be addressed. Okay, Evie Lynch. Go ahead, Evie.
Thank you for taking my call, President. I wanted to point out something, and I first want to say, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here. I come from a background where it was very hard for me to trust people in leadership power and leadership roles from childhood, because you know you've been lied to so many times. After a while, I started to think that people in power were just there to manipulate. However, that's why last time I said I'm just like you. I'm from the Shawnee State too, even though I wasn't born in Missouri or ever lived there, but I'm all about Shawnee.
Hello? Hello? Okay, so if you're still there, keep talking, Evie. We kind of lost reception a little bit.
Sorry, I lost. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Wait. When I came back to the unit, I was appalled. I was appalled because after being gone for so long, I came back to arguing with not even half of what it was previously, and I started asking questions. You know, I've been told before that I can be irritated, and that's the military, you know, because when I need to know something and I need to get it done, I need answers, I ask. I ask and I ask. So I went around and asked the people in my PLC, hey, what's going on? Why aren't we having meetings and so forth? And your name popped up. And I was told that you were a detriment to the union and you were going to, you know, destroy the union. And I don't like to hear negative things about a person and make a judgment. Because people say negative things about me without ever getting to know me. So I try to afford other people the same respect that I would want. So I tried to reach out to you, and I did. I reached out to you. And sir, you were very upfront, which I appreciated. I'd rather somebody be upfront and maybe not like so much what they said, but be honest, than somebody smile in my face and lie to me. The other person that I reached out to, because this is a person in a leadership position, was Monica Wall. And looking back now, I see from the very beginning that she wasn't straight up with me, that she didn't tell me everything that was on her agenda. Because as you remember, sir, there were a few times that I had spoken to you because her concern was, oh, she wants to work with you, she said, but you wouldn't let her. So I went to you and had conversations about that. And well, you know, my hope was that all of us work together because we're supposed to be one united union. One. And you kept your word. I saw you try to work with her. I saw you try to work with everybody. I really rooted for Annika because I wanted all of us to be one union so that we can all together work against the state and what they were doing to us. However, when I found out that she did this to you, and I went to her and I asked her why, oh my goodness, I was so disappointed. Because what she said was just ridiculous. I'm not a 2-year-old that you give these answers to, like, oh, because he gave people days off. So fucking what? Who cares? Excuse me. Sometimes that comes out when I'm upset. But yes, you gave people days off. Who's the president? I mean, honestly, whether they're off or they're working, they're still getting paid. So if they're working that day, they're going to get paid. If they're off that day, they're going to get paid. So there's no extra expenditure. So why would you need to say, okay, we're going to take him out for something that we already budgeted in the budget, which you voted for, because I was there during the budget meeting, and she voted for it. So all of that stuff when she was saying how, you know, she felt like you were a detriment and she couldn't give me a real reason why, that hurt. Because it went back to all those previous leaders who I put faith in, who I put trust in to do the right thing, and let me down big time. So that's why I keep talking about Annika. Because when I went out to membership drives, I didn't know anybody but you, sir, and Annika. I didn't know IP. So I never spoke about her because I'm not going to speak about somebody I don't know. And that's what I would tell people. Well, I don't know about Irene, I've never met her. However, birds of a feather flock together. My mama always told me, be careful who you hang around because your reputation is going to mirror there, whether you want it to or not. So if she's aligning herself with Annika, and I'm sorry, I do not trust Annika at this point, because too many times she's like, oh, I'm going to call you Judy, I'm going to call you, oh, we're going to have that talk, and it never happened. So, I want to thank you for being true to your word, and I respect the fact that you allowed me to have a different opinion than yours on different issues, and at the end of the day, we can still respect each other, sir. We can still speak, and we can still be in this fight together. So thank you for being honorable. first. So integrity is about doing the right thing even when no one's watching. So thank you for having that. And I just wanted to put that out.
Okay, I want to thank you for calling in. Lisa Meacham has not been able to talk, so let's go to Lisa Meacham, and then I'll double back to what Evie said about hard to trust people in leadership. So, Lisa Meacham, are you there? Lisa Meacham. Let me go down here. Can you unmute yourself, Lisa? All right, give me 1 second here. Lisa, where did she go? Did she disappear? Lisa Meacham. Okay. If she comes back, let's make sure we let her talk if she comes back. And I see Joe's hand's raised again, but okay, I thought C. Camp's hand was raised. Did C. Camp want to speak first?
Hi, I haven't been in any of the meetings.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm just burned out, but I just wanted to say hi. And I haven't been keeping up with what's going on, but I don't understand how a president can not be in charge of anything. It's just thoroughly confusing to me. I am like ready to quit the union, except I've got new issues that come up that I'm not going to discuss here because I think we get bigger issues to cover. But I'm glad to see you're still doing well, and curious to hear what you have and what are the plans going forward. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Camp. Listen, first of all, please don't quit. And hopefully whatever situation you have going on, you'll be able to get rectified. As you know, you can call our MRC at 866-471-7348. They can tell you who your job steward is or your rep is for your area. Number two, my plan is to be restored back to my rightful position that I was elected for. This allegation that they suspended me after I suspended them, we're going through the proper process right now, somewhat the proper process, to get that rectified. My long-term goal is to ensure that you, Mr. Camp, and everyone gets a 21% pay increase across the board to make sure you have dignity in the workplace that's not controlled by Cal HR as the final decision maker. As who brought this up? Sylvia Castro brought up, we have to make sure we get the COLA and the GO pay. How do we do that? By coming together, bargaining in good faith, reaching a legal impasse, and going on strike and shutting down the fourth largest economy on earth. Shutting this state down when you have nearly $100 billion in surplus. There's no excuse. If we were to get a 20% pay increase across the board, it'd be close to, I want to say close to $7 billion out of $100 billion. $7 billion out of $100 billion. It's doable, easily doable. It's not an issue. But you got to fight for it, and you have to be resilient. And you can't keep doing things from the past expecting something to be different in the future. That's as fast as I can say it in 2 minutes or less. Please keep watching. Every Wednesday night I do this. You can continue to watch me on Facebook at RL Brown on Facebook, or you can go to my website. A lot of people go to my website, createexcellence7437.com. And I also have Richard Lewis Brown on YouTube. And then I'm going to come back to what Evie said about hard to trust people in leadership. But we're going to first go to Chris. Mr. Camp, thank you for calling in. Go ahead, Chris.
Good evening, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone in the room. I just wanted to touch base what Mary was saying. Mary, don't feel bad. Our DLC is 741 down here in the Central Valley. We have been denied union leave 5 times. I actually emailed yesterday or day before, and I don't think I put harsh words in there because I just put the facts from the end of last year with Teresa Taylor and her daughter. Got an email this morning from the controller. He's like, hey, Mr. Angelosi, I'm the controller, this and that. He's like, I want to get this out of the way using vulgar language toward my union union board people or whatever, and how he said, And then Miss Rodriguez, my PLC, she got back at him. She's like, well, nobody said anything when Teresa Taylor told President Brown to suck a dick on a live feed. And it's like, I'm just telling facts. And then he just sent another email tonight. I didn't read the whole thing. But he's like, oh, I don't have control of who approves union leave and this and that. I'm like, come on, dude, don't bullshit. You guys, and sir, I don't know if you saw SBOC this weekend. No disrespect toward what they talked about, because it is very important for the deaf school.
Yeah.
But I thought SBOC, we were supposed to talk about the contract and our central worker pay. Nothing. No words came out of the people on the board that were sitting there, because if you saw it, they were just sitting there like a bunch of cartoon characters, literally.
Chris, not to interrupt you. At the SBAC, you said they talked about the deaf school?
Yes, sir.
You know, and I'll tell you.
That's what they talked about, sir.
Hold on. Let me tell
If I
you.
may interject.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Let me tell you why they're talking about the deaf school. They're trying to follow me, what I was already doing. I had already spoken to Ty Kovacs at the deaf school in Fremont. And the issue's at Fremont, it's not at Riverside. And I was trying to work with Ty Kovacs, and I appointed him as the chair of the disability committee. And so what they're trying to do is follow what I had already started. But go ahead, Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
And then, like I said, sir, it was just, I don't want to say a sham, but pretty much when they're up there trying to say, oh, we want to have, transparency and stuff, it's like, come on, guys. You guys don't give a shit about any of the members. All you care about is yourselves. And I hate to be like that, because I actually, like I think Miss Stevie was saying, I did respect Danica back in the day. But now, nah, it's not even worth it. And then really all it is, sir, and this is no disrespect because I support you no matter what, they're upset because Gavin is mad that you don't play politics. And it's just unfathomable, I can't say the word.
Unfathomable,
that we have all this money in the budget, and they don't want to do nothing for us. And it's so frustrating. And the gentleman that was speaking earlier, don't quit, sir. Trust me, don't lead into them. I mean, I know I'm still new. I'm the keeper for bargaining unit 15 and 741. There have actually been times that I thought, it's not even worth it because they just want to keep playing these games. But with the amount of people that we have that support and back up Richard and support the ideas that there is supposed to be transparency, we're going to come out on top.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for calling in. So, go ahead, Mary. I know you were trying to jump in, and then I'll go back to Joe. Go ahead, Mary.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to kind of piggyback on what Christopher said. We had an awesome medical conference on cochlear implants. So if we're going to be bargaining cochlear implants for members, man, we're educated. And I'm a surgical nurse. I've implanted many of cochlear implants. I don't think that's what we're going to be bargaining for. So the whole morning was on cochlear implants and how babies can, sign language and infants, and totally nothing to do with SBAC or bargaining. So they were basically burning the clock, and I had members text me saying, why are they accusing Richard of burning the clock at meetings when what they're doing is have speakers come in, and it would have been fantastic if we were at a medical convention. It would have been a great conference, but we're at SBAC. And anyway, I just wanted to let you know that's what the whole morning was, cochlear implants.
Cochlear, for the ears or?
Yes. So if you're deaf, they can do surgery, and then they kind of spin it saying, you should make someone have the surgery. They can learn how to sign. So it's a choice whether you want to sign or have a cochlear implant. But they give us the whole 9 yards on cochlear implants.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to Joe, and then we'll go back to Evie. So go ahead, Joe.
President. I just want to piggyback off of my veteran brother over there in Monterey County, Mr. Camp, also from Mr. Camp. Please hang in there with us, because what I wanted to say is I understand, and I'm new too, that it's a tough sell with everything going on. But in the old school of things and everything like that, you can only control what you control. So when you touch these members, and like when you were here and you touched all these members, people saw that, people touched other people, and that's how everything spreads. Because I'll tell you this, in looking at when I first got in a couple months, same as you, Chris, and some veteran leadership that I thought was out there and everything, human beings will always disappoint you at some point, shape, or point, especially if they're not being honest. So what I'm saying is to build membership and to keep membership with people is you take care of their problems, you show up, you listen to them, you say, oh, okay, yeah, I understand what's going on. Yeah, answer the questions you can. And then the other questions on what taking care of them, whether it's their pay, attendance, dignity clauses, anything going on, harassment and stuff in the workplace. We start working those angles and everything and start helping people, especially for people that were starved for support, things will go forward. Go ahead, sir.
No, I'm listening to you. I'm trying to listen to you and follow on Facebook at the same time.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to follow these chats too.
It's all about the members, and it goes from one person to the other. I know it's easier said than done, but when you constantly put one foot in front of the other, it starts to build and it starts to grow. It's all about trust and support and getting there. And just, situations you can control, great. You help people out, it goes forward and everything like that. In your situation, like you being down here or whatever, we can help out in that way, plus, whatever needs to be done for your legal stuff and everything. But, just be honest and truthful and just keep pushing forward.
Well, thank you for calling back. You're absolutely right. I'm going to go back to that. So I'm going to go back to Evie, and then if no one else has their hand raised, I'm going to try to summarize tonight all these different issues, and I think I found the key word. Oh, then I see Gerald. So, Evie, I'll let you go, and then I'll bring on Gerald Douglas. So go ahead, Evie.
Okay, I just wanted to say a shout out to Gerald before I start. Hey, Gerald.
Hey, how are you?
So I wanted to piggyback a little bit off of what Ms. Mary was saying earlier about the test fact and the presentation of cochlear implants. I 100% agree with her that it was a good presentation. It was really good. And like she said, for medical, if we were at a medical conference, it would have been spot on. What I saw was that, my feelings were that we were there for SBAC. We were there to find out about bargaining. Because on a few of their calls, they said, oh, we need to get ready for bargaining, And so people showed up ready to hear about bargaining. So that wasn't really the time to tell us about cochlear implants. Even though, yes, it was really good information, that information needs to get out there. But that could have been given to us in a different venue at a different time, and then at least prepare us for what we're going to hear. So if it's, hey, we want you guys to know about cochlear implants because of X, Y, and Z, then let us know everything that's ready to hear about cochlear implants. So we come ready to hear about cochlear implants. But we were there for bargaining. But there are a lot of issues that our union, our labor union has, and so we felt that SBAC should have been about the labor union and about bargaining. So thank you, Ms. Mary, for bringing that up, and I am also with you on that one. The second thing I just wanted to talk about, I think all of us are feeling the pressure, and this is a good pressure. This is the type of pressure that gets us ready to become violent. Because right now there's a lot of cold. We're in that phase where we're just like, we're heating up. This cold is heating up. And the pressure is put on us. So I'm glad that we are going through this together and we're going through this now. Prior to the time when we would have to take a strike vote. Because as a group, we're learning who's with us, who can stand the heat, who can stand the pressure, who we can count on, and the people we can't count on. So when the time comes to vote, and if we happen to vote yes, let's strike, we know who our teammates are going to be, who the people are that we can be able to count on, who we can go to, who we can call up and say, remember when? Because there is a lot of pressure right now to get out of this movement. But like you say, President Brown, we're fighters. We're not quitters. So we're going to keep going, just like we did. You know, my military fellow brothers and sisters, you know how it is when you're in deployment. You're at the last, and you're just like, I want to go home. I'm tired of this crap. Well, this is just like that, or similar to that. We have to keep going. And you're our leader, sir, and we're all to the end. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Oh,
So go ahead, Gerald. Thanks, EB.
How you doing, President Brown?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well.
All right.
There's a lot of issues I can speak on, and I've been in the union for a minute. I'm gonna try to keep it brief. I know there's a lot of new people in the union, and may not know how things work. But I mean, at some point, we're gonna have to accept what we're dealing with. When it comes to bargaining, for example, in the past, like you said before, last four, Yvonne's been in the last four contracts, right? Approximately. So,
Yes.
she makes the final decision on things. That's just the bottom line. That's how things have been working. Unit 11 had the revote thing happen. Well, instead of going back to the table to deal with that, she made that decision. Of course, the board of directors makes a decision after she says what she thinks. And if you go against it, you're going to be back at work. That's how things work. You go against her, you go back at work. You're off usually. So these people that are in leadership, they're greedy. It's greedy. They want to be off work on their union leave. And of course, there's money involved in all this. So those are the three things when it comes to politics and dealing with these people in leadership. And it hasn't changed, obviously. And the attorneys, they want to keep their jobs, so they're gonna kick to whoever is in the leadership. Board of directors, I guess right now, Bill Hall is running things supposedly. And as far as Annika, I think we need to pick our battles. She's been surviving. Her, Tony, and Kevin Manager, and Vaughn leaders previously, who's still standing. Vaughn's gone, Tony's gone, Manager's gone. She kept her position that she had in organizing. And yeah, she has say, hey, I'm going to call you. Sometimes she hasn't called. That's happened to me in the past. I've accepted it. That happens. And it's not only with her, but I think we need to pick our battles and focus on what we need to do moving forward. I know, like I said, a lot of you are new and don't know all this stuff that's been going on for years. We need to figure out what we need to do. And like I said, pick our battles. Once President Brown gets back in office, okay, the deal about the $25 and $50, I think that's something that he doesn't really need to worry about focusing on. He kind of came to an agreement, okay, deal with the things that are going to be most important. Pick our battles. This is my opinion, my thoughts, and what I've seen and experienced and gone through. Of course, we got all these other issues. And as far as SBAC, I was going in for Unit 11 with our unit chair, and there was only like 4 of us there. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Talked about a few of our issues and things going on, but that was about it. So I just wanted to throw that out here. come up with a strategy moving forward, what we need to do. But accept the fact that these people are in it for greed, positioning, power, and that's how it's being. And as far as bargaining, I don't know what they're going to do differently, if anything. But if you notice, people that are getting those 5% special salary adjustments and so on and so forth, well, those unit chairs have a lot to do with things. Well, I know in our unit, for sure, things that were given were catered to vice chair and chair at the time. So it's something to look out for and do your research and let's move forward and try to strategize. This is my thoughts.
Okay, I want to thank Gerald from 772 for calling in, and I see other people kind of echo the same feelings about move on from the telework agreement. You're right, but not quite. Because if you sign an agreement and you know that you were wrong when you signed that agreement, you cannot let fraud go unchecked. You must address fraud. So, but I understand symbolically what you're saying about move ahead and pick and choose your battles. But that's one serious battle where when they tried to suspend me, once this HR1 process is played out and I'm vindicated, all these decisions from February 27th will be invalidated. But just sit back and watch. All right. DLC 768 President Cheryl Allen. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Good evening, everyone. I just kind of want to piggyback off of what Gerald says, at least a part of what he says. In moving forward, upon the validation from this HR1, I'm sure we all are conscious enough to realize that this will not be the end of what it is that they are ultimately trying to do. And so, like Gerald stated, with regards to picking our battles and where it is that we actually want to place our energies moving forward, I think that is something that at some point we all need to focus on and start strategizing and putting some type of plan into motion, because we would all be remiss if we think that once you're returned to your duly elected seat, that everything is going to return and the birds will chirp and the clouds will part and the skies will become blue. In fact, I would say that would be the beginning of probably the biggest and most egregious fight that you ever had. It will not go away. It will not stop. In fact, they will become, in my opinion, more venomous and definitely more spiteful in their attempts to get rid of you. And so I just think that while we are all anxiously waiting and anticipating your return to office, I think that we would all be blindsided and our own worst enemies if we do not at some point come together as a group and try to figure out how it is we're going to move forward and strategize to ensure that this type of thing does not happen again. And just we cannot continue to not deal with that elephant in the room. It is established, it is well known, and I believe that every one of the callers who are here all agrees unanimously that yes, there was definitely a malfeasance and a dishonorable, unceremonious act committed against you, hands down, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt. However, if we are anticipating, if we are truly believing, if we are expecting you to be returned to your seat, we need to now start to prepare for the battle that will unlikely, or will very likely ensue at that point. I believe that with this group, they have chosen that taking a passive reactionary stance is detrimental, as opposed to taking a proactive stance and in preparation to offset or at least keep yourself on balance and equal ground in this battle. So I just wanted to kind of co-sign, piggyback what Gerald said in that regard, and just put it forth to the group with regards to what it is that we need to do now. We've already discussed, we've already agreed, and it has been unanimously accepted that what has been done to you is wrong. So now what? What is next? What is the next plan? What is the next step? What is our strategic maneuvers, so to ensure that we can get to the point of getting the 21%, that we can get to the point of returning back to the negotiating table, that we can work together as a collective and cohesive unit to be able to move the members to a strike vote, okay? Because here's the thing, strike votes in some capacity have been romanticized to think that we can just say, oh, we can just strike, we can just strike. No, strikes are only effective if or when the turnout is enough to create a detriment to the state. So that means, theoretically speaking, if you have 95,000 members, if at least 75,000 or more of those members are not with you in this strike, then a strike vote is ineffective and it will not achieve the goal which you have set out. So we need to now work in that capacity. Our mind needs to be set on those particular goals, and I think that in moving forward, we need to set up a way in which we can be proactive as opposed to reactive in preparation for you being returned to seat. Thank you very much.
Okay. Does anyone else have any more questions? Thank you for that comment, Cheryl. That's DLC 768 President Cheryl Allen. All right, I don't see any more hands raised. So we're going to start with what she said about plans and stuff like that. I don't ever talk about my plans and preparations in a transparent fashion because that's strategy. The most important thing right now is I have to keep paying this attorney so we can clear up this HR money to restore me back into my position, my rightful position I was elected for. There are plans. I just haven't vocalized them. And, okay, so Evie Lynch, you be the last person, and then I'll finish up. I'll go back to what President Cheryl Allen said, and then I'll finish up, and we'll get out of here. So go ahead, Evie.
Thank you for those wonderful words, President Allen. I really appreciate your thoughtfulness on that. One of the things that I pondered as you were speaking was the fact that our duly elected president is not in office. Because all of the different types of organizing, strategizing, and so forth that we would start would be ineffective at this point. Because as Mary has stated before, we can't even get unity of the group. I mean, we can do what we are doing currently within our work site. What we can do, I believe everybody individually is working in their work sites as they have always done. But to elevate it to the next level, we need our leader to be in his rightful seat. And I think that the more that we move to get him there, whatever that may be, will be the best strategy that we can be able to put into place right now. Because everything else is going to be warranted before it even gets started. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Okay, so I see. So we'll go back to DLC 768 President Cheryl Allen, and then we'll go to Gerald Douglas. So go ahead, Cheryl.
Okay, thank you very much. I will make it quick. With all due respect, sis, I don't agree with what it is that you're stating. One of the first things, whether you supported Yvonne Walker or not, one of the first things that was well established, and if you want to be an effective leader in your work site, regardless of your title, one of the first things that you need to do is expect and prepare yourself for sacrifice. If you're not willing to sacrifice at least something other than accepting or expecting unity, then you will never win the battle in which it is that you are trying to fight. So with that being said, I disagree with your statement, and I would even go further to say that your conclusion that the only way that we can move to get anything done is based on unity is not only false, but again, that falls right back into the same mind state in which I will speak specifically against, in that you are expecting to be reactive to whether or not you receive union leave as opposed to being proactive. We're all leaders. We all have our own particular followings within our work sites. So that means that at some point you should be able to contact your members, your followers within your work site, your leaders and your activists in your work site on your own personal time. And if they agree with what it is that you agree with it, which in this particular point we're talking about right versus wrong, then they too should have no problems with dedicating or sacrificing at least 1 or 2 hours of their time in order to be able to move the agenda in which you are trying to promote for any particular reason. So again, with all due respect, I appreciate what it is that you stated, but I personally am working to not only change that attitude within my DLC, but I'm also working to change that attitude within my executive board, my e-board, and my stewards throughout my DLC, because it is a part of sacrifice all the way around. If you are not willing to sacrifice at least some part of your time in order to build that membership, move that campaign, support Richard Brown, then you will never get it, because that's the whole point. They're not going to give you what it is specifically that you're asking for. In this particular case, it's union relief. So thank you very much. No hard feelings, sis. I appreciate what it is that you say, but I respectfully disagree with your conclusion. Thank you.
Okay, so Gerald, here's what we do.
Just real quick,
I'll say, go ahead.
can I do something real quick?
Sure.
Both of Evie and just Cheryl, I understand what you're saying, Evie, and we do need Richard back. I agree. We do. Cheryl, I understand totally what you're saying, because you tell me as a steward recently, it kept me from being able to become a steward. Unit 11 flipped the vote. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Unit 11 flipped the vote. All the work that was done, not one of it was done on union leave. One time we did get union leave, we went to a forum. All the town halls, we raised money. We did fundraisers. We raised money so that some of us that were leaders in each district could travel to the town halls. We did that all on our own back. And what happened? We got the no vote we were fighting for.
That's
We
right.
still have about 3 months left. We go back to the table. Yvonne said, I talked to her personally. She said, yeah, we're gonna see about going back to the table. But that never happened. But we did all this stuff without union leave. So we got together, got in cars, went to town halls. So it can be done, and it must be done. And Richard, let the people help you that voted you in. Put people in charge of different things. You can't do it all by yourself. I mean, I know you are the leader, you're the president, but you can't do it all by yourself. Put people in charge of things, get them busy working on stuff. And that's going to bring all of us closer together by doing it. Trust me, I mean, it was a lot of work over the years to get the whole state. We had leaders in each district to get organized. It wasn't easy. A lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, but it can be done. And I totally agree with you, Cheryl. And I do understand what you're saying. We do need our leader back. I just want to throw that out there.
You know, and I'm glad that you put that out there, Gerald. You know, listen, when people was contacting me, I don't remember telling too many people no about union leave. And there are people on this call who got union leave through me. They asked for it and they got it. And some got a lot of union leave. So this idea that I was trying to do everything on my own, that's not true. And a lot of people know this, but they're quiet. Because they know if they tell people how much I did for them, then they're going to catch a lot of pushback. So, I want to make sure that we get done with this call, that people realize that I was getting help and I was putting people on union leave. All right, so Evie. So go ahead, Evie.
Thanks, President Jess. Gerald, I totally understand what you're saying, and Sister Cheryl, 100%, you're on it. You're spot on it. I'm gonna just let you know, the only time that I've ever made myself in my area organized was when I did the membership drive for President Brown, and when I did laps back in 2015, and when I had to be certified in 2021. Other than that, everything that I've ever done is on my own. Because I didn't know that when I first started, what was your movie? What was that? I did it because I was passionate about the issues that I still am. So I still come out, whether I'm on leave, whether it's my day off. I come on my day off because of the prison. I can't really do anything except for on my day off, other than the way that they mandate us and words and so forth. So I totally agree with you that we do have to support and don't expect it to do. I never expected it. However, what I was speaking specifically about was the fact that when we take it to the next level, which is what we need to do, because the organizing that's happening, I see it, I feel the energy. People are out there, they're talking, they're doing it. However, we're getting pushback. We're getting pushback from the state, and there's no cover. When I was on membership drive, we got pushback, but we had our president there, so he was able to help us. He was able to push back and get legal on them. He was able to open up some doors for us so that we could take it to the next level where we needed to be. And I was speaking specifically about strike. Because when we get to that point, we're going to need some type of something. Somebody that's going to be able to take the hard hits. Because we're all together in this, yes. And we are going to get to the point where we're all organized and we're, ready to do what I believe that. I believe that. Because we have people like you, Ms. Cheryl, you, Jared, our President Brown, Ms. Mary. I mean, our team that we have on this call right now is outstanding. I do not believe at all that we will not get to where we need to be. However, the reality is, when we get to that next level where we're aiming toward, we have to have cover. And that's what I mean by to make sure that our president there is in DC, so that we're not only being pushed back from the state, and right now we're being pushed back from our own so-called leaders within the union. So we're trying to give people the truth. We're trying to make sure that they don't take in the misinformation that they're being fed. We're trying to make sure that we keep our jobs because the state is coming after us for little stuff. And maybe not everybody's feeling that. I don't know. I'm constantly dealing with it. And then I'm also dealing with people within my own union who are pushed back. So when the time comes, we need cover, and that cover is our president. So I just wanted to clarify that. And thank you for what you said, Jerry and Cheryl. I agree 100%.
Okay, well, thanks for calling in to clarify, Evie. Thanks for calling back, DLC 768 President Cheryl Allen. As you know, Cheryl had to fight to get her presidency back. She, through her DLC, they tried to take it from her. She got it back. And hopefully they'll start recognizing her. Oh, I see her hand raised. So what? Wait a minute. Hold on. So I see Yolanda Williams' hand. Okay, so I see Yolanda Williams' hand is raised. So go ahead, Yolanda.
I had to unmute myself. Thank you, President Brown.
You're very welcome.
And good evening, members. I would like to speak on, I haven't been on here for a while, I was very upset last time I was on here. But anyways, I would like to speak on, I guess his name was John, who said he had diabetes, he's going through some stuff with his supervisor, and that we need to get members, and what can we do to get members? Number one, when you get back in office, Richard Brown, you definitely have to clean house. You can't have the same people around you that are not for you. Point blank, period. Okay? And second, you have to win some of these grievances. You did a PowerPoint and showed how the grievances were closed and not won, whatever the case may be, and people are having a rough time at their job with these supervisors because the supervisors are in with the union. It is plain and simple. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so bold of what they're doing. As the guy John said, all these violations with disability and stuff like that as he was speaking about. So that's number one. That will bring a lot of members back, knowing that we have a strong union, that we got some reps that's going to rep for us. Some strong people who are going to fight for us. Right now, there's no fight. Right now, there are a lot of these reps getting paid $5,600 a month to side with the department. And it's just one of those things where I'm very frustrated because I'm still paying my money, still trying to keep hope alive, like Jackson would say.
Right.
But it's getting dimmer and dimmer, Richard. It's getting dimmer and dimmer. For one, I got an evaluation. The evaluation is horrible, which I predicted. You have Monica Walls, who is over-representation, who does not like me. Point blank period. Everybody knows about it. It's very obvious. She doesn't even send me emails. I don't get any emails in regards to steward training, nothing. She did this a long time ago when she didn't send the things that I've asked for, the MOUs, which you have sent. So it's critical. It's critical, President Brown, that once you get placed back in office, that you got to clean house, man. You have to have people around you who are going to assist you in helping the members with grievances. Number one. Because if people are going through stuff at their job and they're about to lose their job, or they put them in a situation where they give them evaluation and there's nothing they can do about the evaluation except do a rebuttal, but that bad thing is in there and they can't move, they can't transfer. Because of the fact they put, oh, this person is aggressive. This person is argumentative. This person is condescending behavior. This person, blah, 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 blah. Really? When you know that that is not your character, then you say, wait, hold up. I have a union that's supposed to back me up. Let me go ahead and call the MRC 1866, blah, 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 who don't even help you. Because why? They are in with the department. Because for one, the department, in my case, Richard, and I'm sorry, other people have been talking today and I've been real quiet and I just have to let people know. Because if people on Facebook, you guys out there should know too, because you're probably dealing with it. But they put this stuff in your file and you can't move. It's wrong. It has to stop. And the only way that you're going to get more people is when people start to talk, Richard. When people start saying, "Oh man, my rep was on point. My rep did this. My rep was on," that's when you're going to get something. Then you got a lot of people behind you. Until then, well, as long as they are with the department and in cahoots with them, the poor employee is going to suffer. They put in more, get more work, do this, do that, write them up, do this, all kinds of stuff that they can do to these people until they try to fire them. And, if that's the ultimate goal, what? You have a union. Wait, your union is supposed to back you. But they're not, and they're going to let you get fired. And you see? And then what? Oh, yeah, you can take them to PERS. But then the PERS, you try to fight for your union dues, but guess what? With the union dues, you can't get that back because you know why? It's a part of the quote-unquote remedies that they don't give you your union dues. So what do you get? If you win your case, you only get an order to be posted in a lunchroom or wherever. That's it. But you went through 2 years of fighting to show that the union didn't represent you. So members need to know all of this, and we need a strong backing from reps to fight our grievances so we don't have to worry about our jobs, because if the supervisors do not like you because you are assertive, there's a difference between assertive and aggressive, because they love to put aggressive on black folks. I'm just going to keep it real 100. They love to put that on black folks. And assertive is simply you standing up for yourself. For your thoughts, your feelings, whatever, you standing up. Aggressive is with a hostile tone, like you're about to attack somebody. That's aggressive. So when they put this down on paper, it impedes your opportunity for job transfers. So therefore, you're stuck. And if you don't have a good union, Mr. Brown, then therefore you have employees who are willing to say, "I'm not going to be a part. I'm not going to pay my money. You guys didn't help me." You understand what I'm saying? So I just really, really pray that you get back in office, because I believe in you, Mr. Brown. But you have to clean house, and you got to get people around you that's going to fight for the members in grievances. Number one. And now this negotiation with the telework and all that. Like I agree. That $50.25 and then it's going to be taxed. It was hogwash. That's no good. And for anybody to be like, okay, let's just deal with that. Nah. No, that should be when you get back to, hey, let's dismantle that. Because how is somebody really going to pay for internet service and got 80, 50, 100 watts bandwidth and they only got $50 on that? It's just ridiculous. I'm very, very, very upset in regards to what I'm going through. I've been fighting this thing, as everybody knows. But that's what I'm going to do. It's just one of those things. I just wanted to talk to you and the members out there and everybody on Facebook. If you're going through this, you're going to have to learn your policy. You're going to have to learn the bylaws. You're going to have to learn stuff on your own, because we have reps who are not trying to assist you at all. And I'm a witness. Yolanda Oteria Williams, is a witness to the fact that they're not trying to help you. And you have to do this stuff on your own. So, and it's horrible that we pay our money to end up doing your own grievances, your own issues, and stuff like that. You have no help. And they're getting this money from our dues sitting around eating donuts and coffee and going on trips. Really? Really? Okay. I'm done, Mr. Brown.
So, Yolanda, I feel it.
Yeah?
I hear you loud and clear. People on Facebook are listening to what you're saying and they're agreeing with you and they're making comments. Angela Pruitt, I saw what you just sent me. I hear you loud and clear. I will make no comments behind what Yolanda Williams has said. Yolanda, you have my number. We'll talk. Because I'm going to give respect to Angela Pruitt. So we'll go to the next caller.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. But I hear you loud and clear on that sexism and racism. Let me stop. All right. So the next caller, Betty Jackson Stewart. Go ahead, Betty.
Good afternoon. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Hi, Richard. How are you? Hope all is well. I just want to say this may be maybe the fourth or fifth time Yolanda has came on this, has come on to our call and stated what is going on with her. And I hope that someone can reach out and assist Yolanda. I feel like I'm begging now. Excuse me. What is the purpose in us all being reps? You have all of these reps, on this call, and no one can reach out to her people. I understand some people's hands are tied, but in this respect, the people showed up supposedly to have her back. She's conveying to them what is going on, and they're behind her back, and they're doing something else. And that's betrayal. That is betrayal when your own people show up and they are not looking out for your best interest. We can't have this. And I wish I hope this is the very last time I get on a call and beg for someone to please reach out and assist her. This has gone from bad to worse to worse. And like my mom would say, from sugar to shit. Now she has something on her record. The first time she spoke out to everyone on the call knew something was wrong. You can hear it in her voice. Yet no one, I would show up, but I cannot. I'm one of those individuals whose hands are actually tied. But there is someone somewhere who can show up and undo. This is a mess. And these are our people stabbing her in the back. And I'm going to say something that I never say, because I don't practice politics amongst friends and at work, and I don't practice religion. But Trump made it okay to mistreat black people. Somehow he made it stylish. Let's get together, show them, not here, Jack. We don't do this. She hasn't done anything but shown up to work and did her job. That's all she's done, or attempt to do her job. And things are going bad, they're going very bad. And now you have someone who has put it on documentation, something she has did since this began. You have people like Annika who didn't come out and assist her. You have people, big people, who didn't come out and assist her. Somebody, please, show up at her job and show out and show them what the union is made of. We are not punks. We don't lay down and do what you want us to do. We're here to make a difference. And instead, her name is getting thrown through the mud. And I can't sit back and tolerate this. Now, I can speak up and say something, but it's going to be a problem. It will be a problem because of the situation that I am in. And Richard, you are aware of that. And I'm willing to pay if no one else can do it. But if we are union reps, we can put our foot out there and we can take it, because if somebody is attempting to knock me down, I have backup that's supposed to hold me up and show out for me. If I show up for Yolanda, somebody got to show up for me. And somebody's got to show up for that person. That's the reason why there are more than one of us. And this should have never happened on our watch. Because she informed us before it ever got here. And I mean, I understand people's hands are tied, but everyone's hands are not tied. And I am asking you, from me, a fellow member of this union, I am begging you, somebody, please show up and stop this right now. Right now. So I want Yolanda to call me and say, Betty, thank you for speaking up on that call. Because so-and-so showed up, and they, you know, that we got a meeting coming up, we have something coming up, and they're going to have to, you know, they're going to need to go back and revisit all of this, and let's do it now. Let's do it now. Because I've seen the union show up when something's really going down, and I've seen them win it. And I know they can win it. Don't send the losers to represent us. You send the winners to represent us. And that's all I have to say. I need her taken care of as soon as possible. I will do it myself, except for the position that I hold at this time. I'm not allowed to. But someone, please show up. How do we let our own in? How do we do that? It starts at home. We start at home. We hold one another up at home. And then when we need to get out there in those streets, then we fight like hell for one another. And I need someone to show up for her, because what I'm looking at is what's going to happen to me if I ever get put in that predicament. And that's going to be real bad. Because I'm not going after management. I'm coming after my team. Because you're not supposed to allow this to happen. Not on your watch. This should have never happened to her. And Yolanda, I apologize that this happened to you. But I'm going to continue to beg until I get someone to make this right.
Well, you know what, Betty, you know, I appreciate you going out on a limb like that, but, you know, I'm handling it. It's rough, but I wish I could have somebody. I'm dealing with it as best I can, and like I've tried to get another rep, because the one that I picked, like I said, they working with them.
Right.
But even if I can get a new rep, members, Facebook, even if you get a new rep, the regime that we're under now, I'm telling you, they're not really working for us. We have to have Mr. Brown back in there to do the right thing for our members. Because look at my situation. I mean, like I said, I got this in my evaluation now. She's aggressive, she's this, she's that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, now you have to do a rebuttal, and you got to do this, and you know, and then you got to go to work every day, and you try to act like this doesn't bother you and affect you. When it does. Because you have to fight.
Let me
Wait, baby. Because you got to fight this. Then you fight them in perms because they didn't help you prior to your out-of-class grievance. You fighting in perms. Anybody understand PERS is Public Employment Relations Board? That is the big people who oversee the union. So I have him in court for that. You know, so I have all kind of things going on. It's not coming to work every day trying to do this. So members, understand, you guys got to talk to each other. You guys start helping and telling people. You guys got to start listening. Hey, get Mr. Brown, do what you got to do. Get this man back in his seat, you know, because if not, I'm telling you, a lot of people that they don't like, they're going to do nothing. They're going to do the bare minimum to say, well, we did some representation, but they're doing the bare minimum, not helping you. They're just doing it to say they did it, so they don't have to go to PERS, okay, if that person takes you there. So just understand that you have to really have to talk to each other and let the people know that you have to fight. You have to fight because the union, if they don't like you, this regime here, right now, without Mr. Brown, I'm telling you, they will try their best to get you out and work with the department. Point blank, period. And Yolanda Otelia Williams is dealing with it right now. So don't get it twisted. It's real. It's real. That's all I gotta say. I'm done. I'm sorry, Mr. Brown, it took a while. Thank you, Betty.
All right.
You're welcome, Yolanda.
So thank you, Yolanda. Thank you, Betty. You know, tonight was supposed to be an easy night. It turned into a very interesting night. I'll try to summarize tonight. It's a privilege and an honor to have been elected Local 1000 president. I will win this HR 1. I will get back into office. Do I have all the answers right now? I do not. Do I have a detailed plan? I do. Once I'm back in, oh, I do have a plan. Have I shared my plan with anyone? No, I have not. Were there some things I should have did differently from the very beginning when I was elected president? Yes. And I was trying to work with people. Someone made the comment, I believe it was Evie Lynch, it's hard to trust people in leadership. Then DLC 768 President Cheryl Allen backed up what Gerald Douglas said about picking battles and making a sacrifice. And many people tonight have talked about frustration. Tonight was about making sure we vote in the June primary. And the reason why I wanted to make sure that people voted in the June primary was to make sure that people had not given up on the country, on the state, and most importantly, on our union. You've heard people talk about sexism and racism tonight. They didn't come out of my mouth. It came out of black women's mouths. I'm hurt that I'm not able to come to the rescue for Yolanda Williams right now. I already know what I've done for Yolanda in the past. She doesn't know. Now, I want people to remember that this essential worker premium pay, those 17,000 petitions, that came from Yolanda Williams. When you hear people complaining about the essential worker premium pay, where's the money? I want people to realize that petition drive came from her. And Betty Jackson Stewart is absolutely right. We can't let our own fall. And so when Yolanda says the words regime, that this regime is not going to fight for you, some people say, well, that's not true, Yolanda. No, I believe Yolanda is telling the absolute 1,000% truth. My track record for fighting for Local 1000 from the time I was put in office on June 30th, my first work day, I was fighting from that time, and I'm still fighting up to now. And it does take a sacrifice. When I went to a work site meeting that no one paid for me to go to, that's called sacrifice. The truth about a lot of people in this union will come out. You've heard a lot tonight about our VP Organized Representation, Annika Walls. I know a lot of stuff on a lot of people. I've been asked to not reveal my strategy to no one until it's time. That way there's no leaks. I will continue to ask people to cash at me at 408-207-2339 so I can continue to pay this attorney. We're going to get through this. And it does take a lot of pressure to make that diamond. And it takes a lot of sacrifice. And it comes down to who do you trust? And some people say, you know, can we trust you, Richard? You already know in your heart, your spirit already tells you, you can trust me when it comes to your dignity and your money. We may not always agree, but you know when it comes to you getting that money, Richard is with you. When it comes to you fighting your grievance all the way up to arbitration, Richard is with you. No one else in this union, in Local 1000 leadership, is with you, except for a few DLC presidents and bunk chairs. And there's some job stewards who are with you through thick and thin to the very end. Many of them are on this call right now. I appreciate the respect that people give me when they say, Richard, you're our chief negotiator. Without you, we won't get a quality contract. Again, you are 1,000% correct. I know a lot of people think that if only 2,000 or 3,000 people go on strike to Local 1,000 after we reach a legal impasse, that, thank you, DSAC, that a small number of people going on strike is not enough to really send a message to the state of California. It takes one person to make a difference. And it starts with one person and it multiplies out. I was told years ago I would never win this election. People said they supported me in 2015. Many of them disappeared until I won. And then they tried to show back up. As someone has told me religiously, I becomes we, Richard. And so what I want us to do together is to not lose hope. And I know it's hard to go into a job where you're being harassed on the job and you're wondering why you're paying dues to a union who doesn't seem to care about you, but they seem to care more about electing politicians. But not about you. We're going to fix that problem. Someone made a comment about cleaning house. Other people talked about tonight the real truth, real talk, straight talk. The only thing that's real about this union is Richard Lewis Brown. I've been real from the get-go. From the get-go. When I became a job steward in 2010, they never hustled me then and they don't hustle me now. They never have and they never will. I'm asking everyone to not lose hope, to not lose faith. And I know some of you believe in God and y'all pray for me every day. Don't stop. Some of you have this idea that a positive mindset, no matter how tough things get, your positive mindset, your positive attitude will see you through. You're right. Some of you will never quit. You'll keep fighting because that's the way you were created. You were created to be a fighter from day one. You and I are on the same page. Every day. We're going to get through this. It is now 8:43. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. When you see me do this, I'm telling someone thank you, either off of Facebook or off of a text. Patience. How much patience do we have to fight this evilness that we're fighting? I realize that some people on this call are going to go on this call and then run back and tell the other side everything I've said. So I want people on this call who don't believe in me to do that. Run back and say that Richard Lewis Brown will not quit and he'll never quit. And they can do everything they possibly can come up with. But God is with me. I have not lost faith in God through Jesus Christ. I have not lost faith. Have I become sad at times? Oh, sure, I'm human. But I have not given up, and I won't give up. Let me say it for you again. I will not give up. This is a battle of a lifetime. And they feel that if they can destroy me, then they can destroy you. They're not going to destroy you, because they're not going to destroy me. We will come out of this together. That's it. It's been a pleasure. Make sure you vote. By absentee ballot if you choose to, or if you go to the polls on June 7th, the number 7, June 7th. Make sure you vote. Make sure you vote in this great country. Make sure you vote every time. Every time you must vote. Good days and bad days, we must vote in this country. That is how we succeed into the future in a democratic society. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, yes, go ahead.
Before you end,
Yes.
let's not call this a great country anymore. Let's get our stuff together
Okay.
and see if this country allows us to be great.
Right.
And then we can call this a great country. Because right now, I don't see the great country. Everything happening to us
Right.
is not great right now. So, you have people like Yolanda on this telephone. That's an insult to her, being mistreated. And Angela Pruitt is over here yelling it's an insult to her as well. And what they do to you,
Right.
this is not a great country right now.
Well, wait, hold.
People on
Right.
this call
Right.
are attempting
So,
to come together
right.
and make it
Wait.
great for us.
Hold on a second. Hold on, Betty. I respect you. I respect Yolanda. And I respect Angela. Y'all may not feel the country is great.
No, it ain't.
Now, here's what I'll say. Now, hold on a second. See, I want people to hear me talk to other black folks. I want them to hear our differences, and I want them to see our similarities. Because I told you, me being elected was more than just me being a labor leader. This country is a great country. I've always said this. We've got some tremendous character flaws in our foundation of this country. I've always said that. But it's still a great country. Because it's the only country that I know. Now, to other black folks in the community, if y'all say, hey, Richard, or should I say, Richard, this is how we see it, I'm going to respect you each and every day. Yes, I will. And I know I'm going through hell, and I know Yolanda's going through hell, and we ain't the only black folks in America going through hell. Because sometimes people outside the black community, they go through hell too, but they don't want to know. Now, I'm a straight shooter. And so, when I was elected, I'm supposed to bring us all together. All together. We don't have the greatest union, but in my mind, we can create the greatest union in the world. But it's going to take some hard work. But I'm grateful for what country I was born into, even though my ancestors came over on a slave ship. Now, with that being said, to all my African Americans, brothers and sisters who see it differently, I love you dearly, and I'm with you. And to other black folks who say this is a great country, I see you too. Now, with that being said, I want to say to everyone on this call, regardless of what community you're from, what religion, what ethnicity, what sexual orientation, whatever. I love all of you equally, and we may not always agree on everything. But we can agree on this. We're not quitting and we're not giving up. We don't give up in this country. No, we don't. No, we don't. And therefore, I gotta call it straight down the line. And when I lay people out and say that I'm going through racism, and people say I'm being too racial, and my white friends get mad at me, and I have to get at them and tell them. But sometimes I say things that my black boys and girls, as I say respectfully, sisters and brothers, sometimes I say things to them they don't like either. So it appears to me I'm pissing both of y'all off. That means I'm doing my job. And I did it on this vote, because I was voting all over the place. Love you, Betty. Love you, Angela. I know I get a lecture after this call is over. But we're going to get through this together. But I cannot tell you my strategy. And Angela has been at me about this for a while. I will not reveal my strategy until the time is right. And I think even in the Bible, when they had the great strategies and the great wars, they didn't always reveal the strategy transparently until the time was right. So, with that being said, and I know people are upset about some situations up in New York. Got it. I got it. And I know people are upset about some situations in the Ukraine. I got it. And I know people are really upset about some situations in this state about us losing our money. Got it. I got it. No one's really happy. I know. I know.
But we're working.
And we're going to stay together. And we're going to get through this. All right. So tonight was supposed to be an easy night. It's supposed to be an easy night and not so much.
Thank you, President Brown.
All right, everyone. Mwah! Love y'all. I'll talk to y'all next Wednesday, if not sooner. Good night. All right. Bye-bye.
So, Brother D, good night, President Brown.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.